Okay, so about a couple years ago, we made a video discussing about the reasons to not get an OLED television, whether it be from LG, Samsung, or Sony. Well, this year, things are looking a little bit different for us. So if you watched our previous video, well, one of our previous videos, I should say, that we were discussing about possibly getting rid of our LED TVs and possibly getting two more OLEDs to expand to our OLED collection of lineup of TVs. Now, we got right now the currently OLED TVs. I was about to say OLED or whatever, but the current OLED TVs we currently got are the LG C1, which is the TV that's right here behind us. We have the Samsung S95B, the Samsung's very first ever OLED and very first QD OLED ever made. That's right now in our bedroom / game room right beside us. And then we got the 2023 options, which were the LG C3 and the Samsung S90C. And I'm going to be completely honest, like, the QD OLEDs are by far the best type of TV out there. Like, personally, ever since last year, we got a QD OLED Samsung S95B. It was like a dream come true. Like, it blew us away. And we had this LG C1 before we got the Samsung QD OLED. Like, we had the LG C1 like 5 months before we bought the S95B QD OLED. But man, does QD OLED really bring in some of the most incredible, beautiful picture that you could ever imagine. Now, there is a Sony QD OLED as well, and Samsung makes the QD OLED panels where LG makes the WOLED panels, and basically, like, Samsung has bought some of LG's displays on certain different sizes of their current, existing S90D model, and as well as the S90C from last year. When you look at the 83-inch size, that was definitely a WOLED panel rather than a QD OLED panel. But Sony has also bought OLEDs from LG's display too, because LG does make the OLED panels, and Samsung and LG, or not LG, I don't know why I said LG, but Samsung and Sony are buying them from them. But Samsung also makes its own OLED panel, which is QD OLED, and Sony also buys it from them and puts it in their top tier TV. Now, this is where I'm going to be completely honest. Like, the A95L, I can understand why everybody says it's the best TV of all time. It's the prettiest, most supreme, television out there. But when you look at the price gap between Samsung's, budget option being the S90 series and the Sony being the more expensive one, you really just are like, what's even the point of even wasting double the price if I can just get something very similar that's going to look almost identical? Now, there is a thing to be said. Sony does have the best processor out there. Like, that's flat out 100%, like 100% facts. Like, Sony does make the best processor. But Samsung's picture quality and process and clarity is really not too far off from Sony. Like, I have never seen a picture look so crisp and so clean on any TV ever since we got the S95B. Like, a QD OLED definitely, like, absolutely has, like, the cleanest picture I have ever seen. And that's saying something, because Sony's LCD TVs, like the X90 series that we've been purchasing, well, pretty much the last 4 years at this point, with the X900H, 90J, 90K, and then now our recent one being the X90L, Sony has also had some nice, incredible, clean picture. But Samsung's QD OLEDs are absolutely fire. Like, it's definitely a difference that you're going to see, even compared to Sony with having the best processor out there. So, when I made a video a couple years ago, I am going to admit that I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. burn-in was an issue that we were basically like, we were worried about. And there's been countless of other people. Sorry if a notification on the PC just went through. I don't know why it does that. But other than that, like, personally, like, we thought we was going to get burn-in, and a lot of gamers and just other TV enthusiasts that were wanting to get an OLED, but they were so worried about burn-in. Well, we've actually learned that burn-in doesn't really affect us. And burn-in has been getting more and more less of officially happening than compared to prior years from, like, I think 2018 and older. I think when 2019 and 2020 OLED TV started coming out, that's when the risk of burn-in was decreasing. And right now, almost an OLED TV can actually last just as long as an LCD TV, if not even longer than an LCD TV. So, if you are somebody that plays countless of different content, you like watch different TV shows, or you're a hardcore gamer like us, but you play like at least at a minimum like 3 to 4 different types of games, or you play hundreds of countless of different games like we do, then an OLED TV is going to be just right for you. It is going to be the best fit. If you are somebody that only plays 1 to 2 games like per day, or per week, I should say. I was screwing up there, but per day or per week, and they have like elements that is on a part of the screen, and you play those games every single day to almost every week for like, you know, countless of hours, like we're talking like 8 to 10 hours each in day or each every other day, then an OLED TV is probably not the best choice for you, and you're basically taking a risk of killing that TV off a lot sooner than what you think, even though the OLED TVs, even if you do that, can still last a good couple of years. But sometimes you might get lucky and you might start to get burn-in a lot sooner if you start doing that. But that's not the case with most people now. Most people just either watch like different TV shows or just use it for entertainment. And most gamers out there, even to an extent casual gamers, just they play like at least a selection of like 3 to 4 or more different games rather than just playing 1 to 2 simple games. Now, there are still some that do, and if you are somebody that plays 1 or 2 games but you don't play like every single day, but you do play like at least upwards to like maybe 4 to 5 hours like every couple of days or maybe once or twice a week, then an OLED will still be just okay for you. But it's just if you are playing like the same game or so for like hours upon hours, like I mentioned, 8 to like 12 hours each day or every other day or every few days, then you are taking the chance of getting some burn-in, even though burn-in has been less and less and less, you know, risky of happening. So, I know that was a lot to be said, but honestly, things have changed. Like, we was not going to get an OLED. And I know, like we mentioned on that video that we made 2 years ago of not to buy an OLED, we were saying we was never going to get an OLED. Well, now we got 4 OLEDs. And we are actually very happy to own an OLED rather than an LCD TV. Now, there has been people that have said the colors are more brighter and punchier on like an LCD TV, but honestly, I don't know why, but I think the colors look better on an OLED. And I've seen countless of people and just, you know, content creators have mentioned that usually on an LCD TV, the colors can look a lot more punchier, but LCD TVs have been getting good at colors. But when you really think about it, after our experience with OLED, I think colors honestly look a bit more punchier and richer and more, you know, natural, solid on an OLED TV. And you know why they do look better on an OLED? It's because you can guess it. It's because the infinite contrast. And you don't have LED lights of bulbs inside a screen shining individual zone, and then when it brights up that color, it's brightening through the color and you don't see a full on natural color. like the color has some like it looks good, but if you look very close, you can see some like bits of possibly like fading white shining through the color. Whereas on an OLED, it's completely straight up that color. You don't have nothing shining through it trying to kill it. It's completely 100% solid color, whether if it's red, blue, white, or even the most part that people mention, black, where black levels are the best on OLEDs. The colors are just natural and they're just solid. So, I personally think that colors look better on an OLED than an LCD TV, even though a lot of the newer LCD TVs are starting to get very, very close to OLED performance. But there is an advantage that LCD TVs do have, and that's brightness, and there's a couple of other things, but for the most part, OLED is really winning us over. So, but this video is just for us to let you guys know that that video that we made a couple years ago, we was wrong. Man, was we wrong. We actually said that OLED was not the best place to go. I was about to say the best way to go, but that was right. So, OLED absolutely has changed us. And honestly, I think OLED is better than LCD. And that's actually saying something. And gaming, if you're a hardcore gamer, you would want to prefer an OLED because you get better response time and the lowest input latency while having the best, prettiest picture. Now, there is another thing I will forget to mention to tell you, and this has been a topic over the last couple years that people have been talking about, an 8K LCD versus a 4K OLED. Now, I actually have had a couple 8K displays, especially Samsung, but they have been garbage, but they did look pretty darn crisp and sharp. But a 4K OLED actually looks either identical to an 8K, LCD TV, but in some cases, a 4K OLED actually kind of looks better. And I can tell people in the comment section are going to be like, dude, you're right, 4K OLEDs look cleaner than an 8K LCD. And honestly, after experiencing it, I think that's 100% true. So, we were wrong about OLED TVs, and we said we were never going to get one, and then now, here we are, with 4 OLEDs, looking at possibly getting 2 new ones, and getting rid of our LCD TVs in the near future. So, yeah, OLED is definitely the best place to go. If you are a hardcore gamer, or a casual gamer to an extent, and you play at least a selection of a few different games, and you're a movie or even a TV watcher, as long as you watch and play different content of countless of different content, then an OLED TV is going to be just perfect for you. And you will not regret an OLED TV purchase at all. Whether if you get a QD-OLED or even a WOLED from LG. It's going to look incredible. Now, like I mentioned before I end the video, I will say, like I mentioned again, a QD-OLED is definitely a bit better because you do get punchier brightness and colors, whereas you don't get that on an LG OLED. But when it comes to an LG OLED, they do have a feature that Samsung QD-OLEDs don't have, and that's Dolby Vision. So, in the same way, both Samsung and LG OLEDs are pretty much even when it comes to gaming. They're pretty much even. You get the same input latency, the same response time, and you get the same hertz. It's just I still would prefer a Samsung QD-OLED with HDR10 Plus without Dolby Vision over an LG traditional OLED with Dolby Vision because of the nice brightness and bright highlight colors and HDR highlights that a QD-OLED has. I still would prefer a QD-OLED over an LG OLED. But, like I mentioned, the LG OLEDs are pretty even too. And they absolutely also look fantastic. And Dolby Vision is a feature that actually makes it even with a Samsung QD-OLED. So, minus all that, let us know in the comment section down below if we actually made the smartest choice. We decided to finally get an OLED for ourselves, and now we're sticking with OLED as it's starting to look like. And if us deciding to get rid of our LCD TVs to get 2 extra OLEDs for backup, let us know if that's a smart choice that we're making. So, and let us know also if you have an OLED, whether if it's LG, Sony, or one of Samsung's newer QD-OLED panels, let us know and how your experience is with your OLED. And especially if gaming on whatever particular OLED you have, how is it? And did you not regret the purchase? Is an OLED the best thing you've made? Just let us know in the comment section down below if you got an OLED and if you're satisfied with your purchase of whatever model it is, from what brand. But without further ado, that's going to pretty much do it for this video. So, hit that like button if you enjoy this content. Subscribe if you are new, and we'll keep you posted with more content like this going forward. And like I mentioned, let us know in the comments if you got an OLED and what model is it and how's your experience with it, and if it was a purchase you don't regret getting. But this is Tech and Gaming Reviews, so we will see you on the next video. So peace.